Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we've got the Corvette behind us and we'll be working on this in just a bit. About a year ago, I fit a set of Jegs SSR wheels, and that's actually the wheels over there under the workbench. We've got the 17 by 4.5. Those fit without issue. Then we've got the 15 by 10 with the drag slicks underneath that. Now, I've actually had a number of people reach out to me saying, hey, how did you get those wheels to fit? Well, the wheels fit, but the problem is they actually hit the calipers. So if you guys will look behind us, I actually modified one of the calipers by grinding off a little bit of the outside edge on it to make sure that we got the wheel to fit. And, so we got them to fit, but I actually took the calipers off because, I was still figuring out the fuel system. I was still figuring out the suspension, the engine, all that. Hell, I didn't even have the car tuned at that time. So took the calipers back off, put the Z06 gear back on the car, and they've been off ever since. So I actually hadn't thought about this swap in a real long time. Then I came across a picture of a C5 Z06 with these same wheels on it. And I actually found this on Facebook Marketplace a while back. And if you guys can see, that is a 15 by 10. That's not a 17 because the front wheel is a 17. So this got me thinking, I'm like, you know what? I need to try to get these wheels fit back on the car. And what I mean by that is I don't mean grinding down the caliper again. I really don't want to do that for the other side caliper. I figured since I'd already ground down the one side, might as well just keep going, make it fit. We made it fit, but like I said, I just don't want to do that same fitment on the passenger side. So what I've done is I went ahead and ordered two 3mm spacers. So what my thought is, we'll try one spacer, and if that doesn't fit, we'll try the second spacer. If I have to, I'll go get these made again. These are real cheap. I want to say these were less than $30. I'll try to include a part number for these down below. So with those spacers, we're basically going to try to stick the edge of the wheel outside, closer to the edge of the fender. The problem is, basically, that wheel, that 15 by 10, has the way they made the barrel is actually what hits the caliper itself. It's not, the outside edge. It's like kind of right in the middle of the wheel. There's this stupid little section that narrows, and that's where it hits. So if we put a small spacer, like a 3mm spacer, like I said, if we stick that out 3mm, that might get us the clearance that we need. And so if you guys have a 15 by 10 Jegs SSR wheel, and you guys have the Carlisle 15-inch brakes, the Willwoods, this might be the solution for you. All right, guys, so you can see we have the car is on the lift. We've got everything torn apart. We have the C6 Z06 brakes out of the way. Like I said, I'm not disconnecting those. We've got the base model rotor. We've got our Willwood calipers. That's the Z06 rotor. And we're ready to start the swap. Oh, and here's our modified Jegs SSR 15 by 10. So, alright guys, so we got the rotors and caliper mocked up. You'll notice there are no brake pads. We're not doing that for this mock-up. We're just trying to see if this stuff will fit. Really the only thing you need to know about putting the caliper on is I think it's a 21mm bolt, and I just tightened down top and bottom. That's pretty much it. So we've got one 3mm spacer on there right now. You guys will see that it's spaced out a little bit. Here's our wheel. Let's go ahead and try to get the wheel onto the brake with the spacer on there. Alright guys, so we do not have the wheel on here. You guys can see that we've probably got a 1/2 inch before we even make it. And you guys can see the caliper is still hitting the wheel even with that spacer on there. So let's go ahead. We do have the other caliper that we've already modified. Let's go ahead, take this caliper wheel off. We'll swap to the modified caliper and see how much the spacer helps or doesn't help. Alright, so we have the Willwood brake caliper. We have the 1 3mm spacer on here. And unfortunately, I think what happened is when I modified this caliper, when I was grinding it down, I think I ground it down too much on one side. So that way, when this caliper is actually sitting on the other side of the car, the wheel would actually spin. With the caliper being on the wrong side of the car now, I think that the clearancing is not working as well. So, alright guys, well we have the driver's side put back together. I believe, like I said, it's a 21mm bolt for the caliper bolts, and those torqued down to 125 foot-pounds, so that's all good. We never disconnected the brake line, so we don't need to brake anything. But I think I've discovered why our wheel isn't fitting like it did a year ago. You guys will remember a couple months ago that I did a suspension rebuild. So we replaced all of the bushings and the ball joints. And that Moog fitting on the bottom has a 90-degree Zerk fitting coming out of it for you to fill it with grease. Well guys, I was looking under here, I didn't really notice anything with the fitting, it doesn't look smashed. If you guys are looking at our wheel, you'll see like the same spot, probably like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is about how many times I took the wheel off the car. So I think that might be why our wheel isn't fitting. You know, it's the fact that the stupid lower ball joint has that Zerk fitting. Alright guys, so I actually took the time, I removed the little Zerk fitting, the 90 on the bottom. There's a little bit of grease coming out of there, but that's not a bigger deal. So we've got the stock non-ground down caliper from Willwood. We've got one spacer, and as you guys can see, the wheel will not bolt to the hub. So that's one spacer. Let's put the second spacer on and we'll see if the stock caliper will fit. Alright guys, so you'll see we have the two spacers on there. The caliper still hanging up on the wheel, and the hub of the wheel is not tight all the way against the brake rotor or the spacers. So unfortunately our plan of using spacers is not going to work with this Jegs 15x10 wheel. You are going to have to modify the caliper. So let's go ahead, throw the modified caliper on here and see if the spacers do help at all. Alright guys, we finally have the caliper, the modified caliper on the right side of the car. We also have the Zerk fitting removed, so you will see a little bit of grease coming down there, but that, I think we can fix that up. And we don't have any spacers, so you guys will see that is the brake rotor. Both spacers are right here. So I wanted to prove to you the wheels do spin, you just have to modify the caliper like I said. So we've shown you that the wheel does fit, it does spin. You will hear a little bit of dragging noise. That's because I have some tape on there. If I remove the painter's tape, there would be no noise. So, but this does clear, it does brake. Well, it doesn't brake now, we obviously don't have any of the brake lines hooked up, but it would. Alright, so we have the wheel back installed. You will see we do have one spacer on there. I will say this, it does push it out enough to where I don't think you'd have to modify the caliper as bad. And what I'm talking about is this outer edge right here. You guys will see a little black mark on here. That spot right there. You won't have to modify that as much, and you'll see another little black mark right there on this outer kind of bridge piece. So if you did run a smaller spacer, you know, like I said, like these 3mm, there would be less grinding involved. Alright, so as you guys can see, we do have two spacers on there. We've got the 15-inch rotors, we've got the Willwood calipers on here, and it has spaced the wheel probably another, quarter inch out. I don't think that's quite a half inch. Maybe that's 3/8 of an inch. And I think we're good. The only thing I'd be concerned about is it rubbing on the fender. I mean, it looks fine now, but these wheels have like probably 5 pounds of air in them. If I blew these up, you know, you might run into the fender, just kind of thinking of how big these expand to. So just something to be concerned about. Other than that, I think we're good. Not seeing any other major issues, but like I said, if you ran a 6mm spacer, it would space it out even more, but I would start to worry about thread engagement, and you may want to get some longer wheel studs. Alright, so we have the Corvette over on the left. We've got the two wheels right here, and I hope that this helps answer your guys' questions. I have seen a lot of people reaching out to me through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube comments, whatever, always asking about these wheels, and I hope this video helped show the trials and tribulations that you might run into running aftermarket parts with different aftermarket parts, and then a year later you swapped out a few parts and that created even more issues. So if you guys have those Moog replacement ball joints, you're gonna have to swap out the Zerk fittings because those hit the bottom of the wheel. If you guys are running the Carlisle calipers, you could use a 3mm spacer You're still gonna have to grind on the caliper. I hate to say you're gonna have to do that, but you're gonna have to. And that's pretty much it. Your other choice is go with a different wheel that fits, but my problem is I already spent like $700 getting these wheels modified with the beadlocks and whatnot. Maybe it was $600, but I've got multiple hundreds of dollars in these wheels, and I'm not gonna give up on them. You know, just a little bit of grinding and you'll be fine. Now for that picture that I showed earlier in the video of the C5, that yellow C5, I do not know what brakes they were running on the car. I've had a few people comment saying they had base model brakes, so non-Z51, non-Z06, non-ZR1. They just had the single rear caliper and actually the same rotors that we have. I think ours have just been coated for whatever reason, but basically like base C5, base C6 brakes. And I've been told you still have to grind even on those. So basically the long story of it is, if you guys have a set of Jegs SSR wheels, you're gonna have to grind your calipers, whether it's a Willwood caliper, whether it's a base C5 or base C6 brake. I have thought about actually swapping over to the base C5 brakes, but honestly guys, I've already grinded down on one caliper. We might as well go ahead and grind down on the other one. I mean, it's my part. I've had it for over a year. We haven't been using it. And the only reason we haven't been using them is because I didn't know if there was a better solution. We ordered some spacers and they provide a little bit better solution. But like I said, you're gonna be grinding either way. And I think even if you had like an inch spacer with these wheels, it's not gonna help, because that inner barrel right here is still gonna be the cause of the problem. So, long story short, maybe buy a set of welds, and that way you don't have to grind on any calipers. Now, for me, like I said, I've already got like $600 or $700 in the beadlock conversion, plus the cost of the wheels. I mean, I've probably got, in wheel alone, $900, maybe $1,000, give or take. Maybe not that much, but it's up there. It's not like it's 200 bucks. I think the wheels themselves were 150 each, so 300. 700 in the modification. Yeah, let's just say we've got $1,000 in these wheels alone, and that doesn't include the tires. So buyer beware, and I hope this helps you guys out. A comparable set of welds, man, I think they're $1,500 a wheel. $1,100, $1,500 a wheel, something like that. So is it a good buy? I don't know. I didn't know. The unfortunate thing is, when I bought these wheels, I'd seen them out on cars. I've seen people say they had them done, but I had not experienced that myself. If I had done this the proper way, I would have fit the wheel on the car before I had them modified. But unfortunately, like I said, you know, I actually had these sent out, and I installed the brakes at the same time. They came back and they didn't fit. So that's kind of where we've been. With the global issues going on this year, there hasn't been any drag racing anyway. There's been some test and tune, some private track rentals, some street car takeover events, but nothing that's been super close to me. And I really haven't had the time anyway, so it is what it is. And it's probably gonna be winter when you're seeing this video, so that's, you know, that's another reason. So I will modify the other side caliper, and I did buy some caliper paint. I bought one of those G2 red caliper brake paint kits. And so, you know, we'll do our modification, we'll paint it, and it should look fine. Other than that, I think we should be good. I'll try to include links to some of the parts and products we used today. I'll have the wheels, the tires, the brake, maybe not the brake kit, because the Carlisle, I don't think you can buy them online. But I think I did buy those spacers on Amazon and eBay. And so we'll provide all that information for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you guys want to see more Corvette content, SS content, truck content, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. And if you guys want to help support the channel, check out the links that I've provided down below for all the parts. Make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Thanks guys, have a great one.